What was the dumbest thing someone said while being 100% serious? I used to work at this small digital marketing company about 6 years ago. The kind of place that wanted to feel like a Silicon Valley startup but mostly just smelled like burnt coffee and bad decisions. There were 12 of us in total, and the boss, Linda, ran the show like she was some visionary tech genius. She had the energy of someone who'd read half a self-help book and decided she was changing the world. Every Monday morning, she'd gather everyone around for her innovation huddle. She'd make us write motivational quotes on sticky notes and stick them to our laptops like it would increase productivity through osmosis. The energy in this room determines the energy in our data, she used to say. I still don't know what that meant. Anyway, one random Tuesday, our Wi-Fi went down. Again. It wasn't unusual. Our router was older than some of the interns, but this time, Linda decided she was going to fix it herself because, in her words, true leadership is about hands-on problem solving. She comes out of her office marching like she's about to lead a rescue mission. Everyone stops what they're doing because whenever Linda had an idea, it usually meant chaos was about to happen. Okay, everyone, she announces, we're having signal congestion. We all glance at each other, waiting for someone to ask what she means. Finally, one of the newer employees, Sam, raises his hand and says, do you mean too many devices connected? Linda shakes her head very seriously. No, the air in here is too heavy with Wi-Fi. You can feel it, the tension. It's too dense. I almost choked on my coffee. She walks over to the router like it's a sacred artifact and stares at it for a full 10 seconds before saying, it's overheating because there's too much energy bouncing around. Everyone turn off your devices for a minute so it can breathe. Our IT guy, Jake, who'd already been dealing with her nonsense for months, says calmly, Linda, that's not exactly how Wi-Fi works. Linda crosses her arms. Jake, I appreciate your input, but I've read about this. Electromagnetic crowding is real. The airwaves are polluted. And then, with total confidence, she walks to the windows and starts opening every single one. We need to let the Wi-Fi out, she says. The whole office goes dead silent. You could hear chairs creaking, people trying not to laugh. One girl actually bit her lip so hard she left a mark. Linda, completely oblivious, opens the last window and says, there, you'll notice a difference in a few minutes. Then she looks at Jake and adds, let's get some cross-ventilation going. Wi-Fi loves airflow. I swear to God, Jake looked like he was rethinking every career decision that led him there. About 5 minutes later, the internet suddenly came back. Not because of Linda, of course, but because the service provider fixed an outage. But Linda gasps and claps her hands. See, the Wi-Fi can breathe again. You just have to let the energy move freely. I had to excuse myself and go to the restroom just to laugh. When I came back, she was typing an email titled Office Signal Hygiene. In it, she wrote, going forward, please remember to open windows periodically to allow electromagnetic ventilation. Technology thrives in oxygen-rich environments. Jake printed that email out, framed it, and hung it on the break room fridge like a piece of modern art. But that wasn't even the end of it. The next week, Linda hosted a short lunch and learn session about what she called ecotech synergy. She drew this completely nonsensical diagram on the whiteboard. Little waves labeled signal flow, arrows pointing out of open windows, and circles representing air cleansing zones. At one point, she looked around the room and asked, has anyone else noticed that the Wi-Fi feels fresher when you crack a window? And a few people, terrified of losing their jobs, nodded. I think that was the moment I realized confidence and delusion are a powerful combo. But the real kicker came 2 days later. Linda caught Jake closing a window because it was raining, and she actually scolded him. She said, Jake, you're letting the air pressure trap the signals again. That's why your downloads are slow. Jake just stared at her and said, Linda, the rain is literally coming in. Linda replied, water is a natural conductor. Maybe it'll help. We all stood there dead silent, watching rain splash onto the router sitting on a shelf. Jake just whispered under his breath, I need a new job. And honestly, that day taught me something important. Some people are so confident in their nonsense that logic doesn't stand a chance. Every now and then, when my internet lags, I still open a window. Not because I believe it helps, but because it makes me laugh remembering that wild woman and her Wi-Fi ventilation theory. Sometimes the dumbest things stick with you forever.